So have you ever felt that, like, ever felt like you're on that treadmill? Just busy, 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 but like not really getting anywhere?
Oh, yeah, totally. I think we've all been there.
Yeah. And, we're always looking for ways to be more productive, right? And to, like, really focus on what matters.
For sure.
So today we're going to dive into this idea and, like, a strategy for, actually taking back control of our time.
Awesome.
And it all started with this really simple idea, and that is designing your day before it designs you.
I love that.
So we're going to be looking at this book, Make Time, How to Focus on What Matters Every Day.
Great book.
It's by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky.
Yes.
And we actually, we looked at one of their podcast episodes too.
Yeah.
And this could be like a deep dive into that.
Cool.
So what really struck me, and I don't know about you, but what really struck me was how they kind of shift this whole perspective from time management,
Yeah.
which always feels like a little restrictive to me,
Totally.
to time design.
Right.
So instead of being like, a slave to our calendars and our schedules,
Yes.
we could become the architects, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the main idea behind Make Time. They really emphasize this idea that we can design our days instead of just letting them happen to us.
Yeah, it's about making those conscious choices, instead of just like reacting all the time.
Right.
So how do we actually do that? Like, where do we even begin with this whole like time design thing?
Well, they actually break it down into this 4-step system, which I really appreciate.
4 steps, all right?
Yeah, so the first one is what they call the highlight.
Okay, the highlight. Now, is that just a fancy way of saying like make a to-do list or?
Yeah, I know, it sounds kind of like that, right? But it's actually a little bit different.
Okay.
So it's about choosing one and only one task that you absolutely want to accomplish that day. Like, this is your main priority, the thing that even if everything else goes sides, you can feel good about having achieved.
Okay, so it's about focus, not just like
Right.
checking off a bunch of boxes.
Exactly.
But wouldn't that, like, I don't know, wouldn't that feel kind of limiting in a way? Like, what if other, urgent things pop up, like,
Yeah, and that's actually where the beauty of the highlight lies, I think, because by being really intentional about selecting your top priority, you're actually less likely to get derailed by those seemingly urgent but often less important tasks.
That makes sense, yeah.
It's about being proactive with your time, not reactive.
Right, so, okay, so we've got our highlight. We're ready to, conquer the day.
Yes.
But how do we actually stay focused? How do we make sure that we're not getting distracted?
Yeah, so that brings us to the next step, which is laser.
Blazer.
And this is all about creating a distraction-free environment to really tackle your highlight.
Okay.
So think, turning off those notifications, finding a quiet workspace, maybe even like putting your phone in another room.
I've tried that whole phone in another room thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much more I get done. But realistically, I don't know, most of us can't just like shut ourselves away in a book or all day long.
Right.
So do you have any tips for like, those of us with, how we say, less than ideal work environments?
Yeah, for sure. And I think even small changes can make a big difference. So, noise canceling headphones, setting a timer for like focused work sprints,
Okay.
even something as simple as exposing like unnecessary browser tabs.
Yeah.
All of those can contribute to creating a more laser-focused environment.
It's like you're building these like little mental fences to keep the distractions out.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're focused, we're productive, but let's be real for a second. We're human too. We get tired.
Oh,
We
yeah.
lose steam sometimes.
Totally.
So what's next? What's next in this make time plan?
Yeah, so this is where it gets, I think, really interesting because the next step is energize.
Energize.
And it's about recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't expect to have sustained focus and productivity without taking care of your physical and mental well-being.
So it's not all about like, hacking your workflow and all that stuff. It's about hacking your like self.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to take care of yourself first.
Okay.
And the authors, they emphasize things like, getting enough sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Which is huge. Like, that's a game changer for most people.
Yeah.
Moving your body regularly, even if it's just a short walk, taking breaks to recharge.
You might be surprised to learn that those like short bursts of exercise can actually boost your focus more than like chugging another cup of coffee.
Oh, for sure.
I've actually started incorporating like quick yoga breaks into my day.
Nice.
And it's amazing how much more energized I feel.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Okay, so we've got our highlight. We're lasering in, we're energizing.
Yes.
What's the final step?
All right, so the final and often overlooked step is reflect.
Okay, reflect. So is this where we like journal about our day, write down all our wins and woes, all that stuff?
Yeah, it can be, but it's more about just taking a few moments, maybe at the end of your workday, or even just like before bed, to review how things went.
Okay.
You know, what served well? Where did you get stuck? What could you do differently tomorrow?
Yeah, I could see how that would be really helpful, for someone like, trying to juggle a busy work schedule and family life and like all the different things.
Absolutely.
It's like a little mini debrief,
Exactly.
to kind of fine-tune your approach for the next day.
And I think that's a really important point because the make time framework is really a continuous cycle. It's not about perfection. It's about making small adjustments over time.
Right.
To better align your action with your priorities.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener?
Yeah.
Who's probably feeling that like familiar tug right now of too much to do and not enough time.
Yeah, we all feel that.
It means that you have more control than you think.
For sure.
It's not about like magically finding more hours in the day. It's about choosing how to spend the hours that you have.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's like the core message of Make Time is that your time isn't something that's taken from you. It's yours to design.
I love that.
You have the power to make choices about how you spend your time.
So instead of ending your day with that familiar question, what did I do today? Try asking yourself, what was the highlight of my day?
That's a good one.
It's a subtle shift, but I think it can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I agree.
Because then you start thinking about, okay, well, what do I really want to accomplish? What's going to make me feel good at the end of the day?
It encourages you to be more intentional about your time and to really prioritize what truly matters.
And that's what it's all about, right?
Totally.
Like figuring out what matters and then like really making time for it.
Exactly. And anyone can do this. Like, anyone can design their time and focus on what truly matters. It just takes a little awareness and a little effort.
And some make time.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive today.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
And to all of our listeners out there, we hope that you found this helpful.
Yes, we do.
And that you'll start thinking about how you can design your time to really make the most of it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.